Welcome back, everybody, to video number 3 in group project instructions. This is a very useful document, I think you'll find, for not only this course, but for some of your future courses which use APA as the formatting guidance for preparing papers. I think you'll find that that's universally used in this area among all the college and universities with which I'm familiar. So let's take a look at this. Here we have the cover page for your paper. It starts out here with a centered mixed case title of your paper. Here are the students' names that prepare the paper. The course number, in this case, accounting 1B, that's all there is to it. Or you can call it managerial accounting 1B if you like. The date, don't use military dating or abbreviated dating. We would spell it out January 23, 2010 or something like that. Instructor name, very easy, Stephen B. Wilson. That's it. No Mr., no comma MBA, just Stephen, Stephen B. Wilson. That's all there is to it. If I were a doctor, if I had my doctorate, which I do not, you would then include that as well, but not in this case. We do want to show page numbers. Be sure they're in the same font and size as the rest of your paper. And that font and size should be a 12-point black Times Roman font. I suppose you could use Arial and Courier if you really wanted to, but I think Times Roman's a prettier text, but I leave it to you as to which one you want to use. You will notice up here that we have a running head. A running head is only required if you're a doctoral student or you plan to publish this little beauty. My guess is you're not a doctoral student and you're not going to publish this paper. So you don't need a running head. If you want to include it, fine, but you won't get any credit, or for that matter, lack of credit for having it. If you do use it, though, you have to capitalize the first letter here in running head, and then all of the title of the page is capitalized, and that rolls through the entire page, the entire paper. Okay, just some brief points. We have 1-inch margins all the way around. Okay, so let's go down. The next one here is the abstract. You need an abstract normally if you have a paper that's greater than 8 pages. You won't need an abstract because your paper should not be anywhere near 8 pages. What you're doing in this paper is indicating how you used all the numbers that you've calculated for net present value, internal rate of return, profitability index, BETs, all of those, and you're going to come to a conclusion as to which project your team wants to pursue. You can only choose one. Now, I will tell you, you can defend either one of those projects equally well. Okay? So it all depends on how well you justify and interpret the numbers you calculate. Very important. So that's what the paper does. So here's going to be your first page or second page, not including the cover page. You would have the title of your paper here centered, not italicsed, not bolded, not all capitalized, just like it's shown here. And then we indent 5 spaces for each paragraph. Okay, and away we go. Now you'll notice here that we have what's called an in-text citation. In this case, for Cuddy. So if I just for a second go to the end of this paper, you'll see the references page, and here it is. This references page, again, centered, right? Mixed case. It's not works cited like it would be for MLA. Some of you might have come out of high school where I'm told they use that as the formatting guidance for high school. But here it's a references. And this is where you would put all your references that you use to calculate your paper. There shouldn't be too many because your group paper is largely based on your textbook. But you might have some, and you can include them here. But here is that Cuddy in-text citation. This shows you just how to include all different kinds of sources that you might have. You might have a book, you might have an online journal article, you might have a book with an edition, etc., etc., etc. And so this shows you how to do that should you need that in the future. So if I go back, as I go down here, you'll see the first level heading. And this is bolded, mixed case centered here. And that shows format considerations. And then we have some level 2 headings under that. How you would do correct margins, how you would do a page header. You'll notice, by the way, the running head piece of that disappears in the subsequent pages, just the capitalized name of the paper if you use running head, which if it were me, I wouldn't bother. But then you have document headings, the reference page. It shows you how to do that nicely. In-text citations. Now, in-text citations has some third level. So that is indented here. So we had some direct quotations, some paraphrased material, some plagiarism, and then some other formatting issues. So that pretty much gives you, then they have another break here for writing mechanics, which include grammar, passive voice, punctuation, numbers, when you spell them out, when you put them in, and of course the references page. But one last thing I want to show you, which is kind of nice, although this is getting a little old at this point in time. Here, it shows you how to format Word so that you don't need to worry too much about the proper way of formatting for APA. And it shows you how to do that here at no extra cost. Okay. So I think that gives you what you need to know about APA. You can look back at that. It's included in the modules. Okay, that's all these files that we just went through, shown here under Group Project Instructional Video Files. You see Steve's Way, how to calculate weighted average cost of capital, etc. But I do want to show you quickly this piece here. Under May 16th, the group project's going to be worth 45 points. Here, you need to submit 3 items: the Excel worksheet, which is a template I'm going to show you in a second, the APA formatted paper, where you clearly indicate the thought process your team has for making the project decision, and then a PowerPoint presentation. We will not be doing that in class, but still the PowerPoint presentation is still required. And so one person from your team should submit that here in Canvas. As again, if this is an online course, we're not going to be presenting that in class. So, okay, as we return to the module, here are some additional instructions for the group project, and it tells you exactly when it is due, and a couple of key things about the quantitative calculations and how we would do that. All right. Okay, and lastly, we have the end of term project. This is an Excel file, and this is pretty much where all your calculations are going to be shown. I've already shown you how to do the weighted average cost of capital. You would put that in this worksheet. This is an Excel spreadsheet. So you would do that. Here's the information you need to calculate. Here we're calculating the weighted average cost of capital first, then net present value, profitability index, internal rate of return, and some questions. Don't forget to answer these questions as to what project you would choose using internal rate of return, what project you would use using net present value, etc. Now, this is payback, not break-even time. On the next section here, it is break-even time. So again, you're going to use cumulative cash flow here, okay? And that's going to be discounted for break-even time, as you'll remember. And there is a calculation here for accounting rate of return. You'll see that accounting rate of return looks really funny when you do it. And lastly, the piece that you're going to write on your paper. This is, to me, very important, as it's your last chance to really be managers and make intelligent business decisions. And one of those things is the weighting that your team gives to risk. That's a big hint. Okay, and so that is the entirety of the group project. I think you're going to really enjoy that group project. I'll go back to module 15 here. And that's, I think you're going to get a lot out of that project, but you're very, very welcome. And I encourage one of your team members to bring your preliminary calculations to me at my Saturday tutoring sessions. This is a good time to go through those calculations with me. I'll give you some very specific pointers and constructive criticism, and it will be very constructive, I promise, as to how to calculate these correctly. Most students don't quite get it correct the first time through, so I encourage you to use me as a sounding board, and I'll be happy to give you some good pointers in that effort. All right, that's all I have for the group project. And until we get to module 16, bye for now.